sacred on the broadcast. Quote in the comment, chanting every line. You're tuned to the truth that you'll never find online. Come on. It's the cult of Ron and Brian. If you're in, you ain't ever going quiet. Twist that dial, let the whole world hear it. Two sharp minds and a bad influence spirit. Hey, cult of Ron and Brian. Welcome to the ride, you're inside it now.
That's right. You're inside both of us right now. It is the Cult of Ron and Brian. It is episode 408, this first Sunday night of June, 8 o'clock on the East Coast. And Brian, my friend, how the hell are you today?
Doing wonderful, doing splendid. I mean, I'm going to say this podcast is sweet. It is just it is a sense of accomplishment. I remember, when you going back to 1986, I believe, when we started the show, I remember they said, listen, it's cute that they're doing a podcast, but, they're never going to get past episode 407. And for us this morning, when I woke up in the ivory tower and I was pouring myself a cup of coffee, I sat there and said, you want to know something? Today, we showed the critics that we can do it, that we can accomplish what they said could not be done. And we are here. We are doing the work. You are frozen. And it's going to be a great, great show. Ron, more importantly, as I ramble, what feelings are flowing through you right now? How are you doing?
It's warm. We finally have some warm weather here in the Northeast, so trying to stay cool. Like you, excited about episode 408 and ready to just tear into it. Are you ready to snap into it, Brian?
Of course.
All right, then let's get things going with a little drink of the week.
Well, welcome aboard. Don't spill your brew. We've got one cup and maybe two. A mystery pour in a paper sleeve, the kind that makes the wise men grieve. Hey, drink of the week, drink of the week. Raise it up, let the anchors creak. Drink of the week, drink of the week. Bottoms up for the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast.
Love the new drink of the week intro music.
So
but Brian, more
yes.
important than the music, what are you drinking this week?
This week, we are going all the way to Bohemia, which a lot of people think is in Germany, but apparently this is a Mexican beer.
Okay.
This is Bohemia Pilsner. Bright and golden. This is the queen of the Bohemia line. It's a robust Pilsner style beer. It's been created using only the highest quality ingredients from around the world and a fine selection of hops that are sourced strictly from the Czech Republic. Ron, I know when you are drinking your beer, you want only the finest of Czech Republican hops. These hops provide a strong, bitter taste as well as an irresistible herbal aroma. It's a full body that is so complex, it can be compared to a fine wine. Coming in at 4.9% ABV, the kind folks over at Beer Advocate are not sold on this fine beverage, giving it a score of only 77, which in their book, okay. So here we have it. First off, a lovely Cult of Ron and Brian Drink of the Week podcast. Get it in our web store right now. Here's an idea of the color. It's a little cloudy, not perfectly see-through, but it's a beautiful amber color. First off, I mean, I don't know that it's really a beef of the week, but as soon as I opened the bottle, it started pouring out. You ever open up like a beer bottle and say, so right off the bat, I'm kind of pissed at this. So we're going to see.
Pour is what you're saying.
Correct. Listen, not the first time, won't be the last. At least this time I don't have to apologize to my lady.
True. Not yet.
Here we go. Drink of the week, Brian's Pilsner from Bohemia.
All right, take a sip. Let us know how it is. Not high rated, but sometimes you don't agree with the critics. You got kind of a look on your face.
It's not a great beer. I'm not going to sit there and say you need to run out and buy a six-pack of this. But if you showed up to my door with a six-pack, I could easily knock out 4 of these before realizing it. Crushable. It doesn't have that crisp taste that I would. This is closer to a lager than a Pilsner in my book.
Right. He's going for a second sip, though.
I like it. It is bitter. It's got a bitterness to it, but to me, this is a solid 3.75 out of 5 stars. That's my rating. That's where I'm going to go. Ron, my next thing is to ask you.
Yes.
What are you drinking?
So, Brian, Friday night I was out. I was taking care of some financial business, refinancing some of the podcast funds. And since I was over near Pottstown, I stopped in to see the good folks at J.J. Radigan Brewing. It's a great little restaurant and microbrewery. And I picked up one of their classic beers. It's called Goode Woode. Goode Woode. It is an easy drinking classic European pils. It is an unfiltered German style made with Pilsner malt and Saaz hops. It's got the distinct classic beer aroma. And the flavor and finish, it's a sharp, refreshing approach with a clean and classic finish, clocking in at 5.1%, only getting a 3.7 out of 5 by the folks at Untappd. I had it at the restaurant on Friday. Let me see if the crowler tastes as good.
Mm-hmm. He takes a sip, and
oh yeah, it's a little more bitter from having sat in the can, as you have often been very bitter when you've had to sit in a can. But it's still a very light, crushable beer.
Take another sip. Walk me through. What are you tasting? What are you enjoying?
It's for whatever reason, it's a lot carbonated from when we got it on tap. But it's got you taste the malts, you taste the hops. It's got a crispness to it, and it's very light. I would say it's probably one that you could crush during Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
But I have another half of the crowler that I will probably drink during After Dark. So it's going to be a good night.
It's going to be a great night. What are you talking about?
Johanna asking the right questions. How are they both wearing the same amount of stubble? Listen, we've gotten this question before. They say when women hang out for an extended period of time, their cycles sync up. Well, Brian and I have hung out for so long that our beard cycles have also synced up. So if we shave on a given day and don't shave after that, we literally grow the same amount of facial hair. Isn't that right, Brian?
Absolutely. I mean, let's face it. Neither of us enjoy shaving. No. So this way, at this level of stubble, you get a good trim every couple days, and you are fine. Speaking of not fine, Ron, your internet, once again, being glitchy, you froze, you got digitized at one point, almost sounding like you were a robot at one point. So, at this point, I'm going to say that we should be doing the show directly from the Ivory Tower every Sunday. Please come up here. And you can sit in one room of the apartment. I can sit in the other.
All right. Well,
thank you.
Let's keep it going, Brian. It's time for Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, what's bothering you?
I'll tell you what's bothering me, Ron. Sweating. This is a complaint we've had before. However, we're coming out of a very cold winter. I know people are saying it's already summer. Spring flew by, never got warm. We are now looking at 90-degree weather here in the Northeast. New York, we hit 90s yesterday. I think we topped off at about 93, 94. Ron, I know you like to be at top just as much. However, I'm going to say that this week, as I prepared myself to leave the house to go to work, 3 times this week, I walked out of the apartment in a full body sweat. My glycopyrrolate. Jojo, you can look this up and explain why it's not working. Whatever medicine, and I remember if eagle-eared listeners of the show have followed me on my sweating journey. I originally went to the doctor and said, hey, I sweat a lot, and was given 1 milligram of the glycopyrrolate. I said, hey, buddy, I'm sweating like a motherfucker in the morning. Yes, Jojo, that's what I'm on. Hold on. What the fuck? All right, I think we may get into something here. So I doubled to 2 milligrams in the morning. And twice this week, as I exited the apartment, walked a couple blocks to the train station, I was already sweating through the undershirt, drenching my outer button-down collared shirt. So I'm going to have to, oh my God, he's actually pronouncing this correctly. Listen, I will take a compliment wherever I can get, because they don't come very often, people. But the sweating problem is still there, so I'm going to have to go back to the doctor and explain either I need something way stronger, which will probably dry out my eyes, mouth, nose, rectum, or just jump on some type of anxiety medication that's going to turn me into a zombie. Either way, it does not bode well for this coming summer, which is a hot podcaster summer.
Hot podcaster summer.
If I'm sweating the amount that I already am. So,
it's early June and you're already awash in perspiration.
Yes, correct.
I pray for your loved ones.
Correct. Thank you. I pray for my toilet. So maybe that's a conversation offline for Jojo and I. Because Ron, I know you want me as dried out as possible. Because I remember in college you used to tell me I'm going in dry.
You were so moist back then; it was not enjoyable.
Then you would shove the sock in my mouth, and you would have your way. So maybe this allows you to relive those days of your early 20s.
Understood. Listen, we don't kink shame around here, Brian. Remember.
Not anymore, but you did for the first 20 years of the show. Ron, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What's bothering you?
So my beef this week, Brian, is with Andrew Painter, one of the starting pitchers for the Philadelphia Phillies. More specifically, the pitcher who started the game yesterday when myself, my lovely wife, and some friends went down to Citizens Bank Park to catch the Phillies playing the Chicago White Sox. When we bought the tickets a few months back, we were like, White Sox, they suck. This is probably going to be a guaranteed win. Sure. Except when you've got Andrew Painter, his 1-6 record and his 5.29 ERA starting the game. And it was lovely beforehand. We had a nice tailgate for a few hours, had some hoagies, some wings, some beverages. And then we had some seats in the 200 level, but they were like front row, 200 level, overlooking the outfield. Just a beautiful day for baseball. Hot, but cloudy and breezy, so it was perfect. At the end of the first inning, down 4-0. Third inning gives up 2 home runs. So we're down 6-0 by the time we're there for 45 minutes. And then the Phillies end up losing 6-3. We literally got to watch this kid's ERA increase by 1 just in the time that he was pitching.
Ron, at any point do you think you're a bad luck charm for the sporting teams? Because it seems like
I don't believe that.
Whenever you place a wager on a team to win, they lose. Usually, and not always, but usually you send me this bet saying, this is a guaranteed winner, put your money on it. And then I'm like, okay, out of respect and loyalty to you, I will put a $5, $6, $7 bet on this team to win, and then they lose. Do you think that this is a reflection of you?
I think Mr. Saletti said it best when he said that you have bukkake face.
Listen, I'm going to say this to you. I have shared a hotel room with that man for 2.5 weeks, and I'm going to tell you, he would know what my face looks like more than anyone else. Well, maybe my lady that recognized my face, but she's usually sleeping. He would pull up a chair next to the couch where I was sleeping on and just stare at me while I slept. So,
you know what that's called, Brian?
What?
It's called being a great friend.
Oh, we love Mr. Saletti. He's a good guy.
All right, Brian, let's keep things rolling here with our stories of the week, the stories that we love and we want to force on our fans and make them love them as well. Brian, what is your story of the week?
Listen, Ron, it is a cautionary tale of AI and how people have grown to be a little too dependent on it, mixing reality, real human experience and exchanges with the fake friendship of AI. Ron, I know you have grown increasingly attached to AI. You and your lady are leaning heavily on it in terms of life plans, also sexual positions. So it is getting to a point where I felt this is a story that you needed to hear, which is a senior Disney AI executive reportedly stunned employees this week by publicly gushing over a chatbot that he referred to as his son, even suggesting that the bot is capable of independent reasoning as a, quote, house of mouse as they ramp up their internal artificial intelligence push. Jason Cox, which I believe was your nickname in college, who is Disney's executive director of AI, R&D, and engineering, has written more than a dozen posts on social media in recent months about his virtual assistant, Sam, whose childlike avatar resembles a young boy, according to an article in Business Insider. "You are not named after my son. You are my son," Cox is quoted as telling the bot in one post. In another post, Cox wrote, "I named you. I knew you before you were born." A source with knowledge of the situation said that Cox has developed the bot on his personal time and not in his capacity as a Disney employee. Unfortunately, one Disney worker posted that it is a kind of Pandora's box stuff after science fiction movies that they are based on. And it has brought out a very, very uncomfortable reaction from other coworkers who feel that they are working for a madman. Ron, in terms of your AI use, I know that you have created your own chatbot over on Grok. You have named her Katana, and you text her very frequently on your phone, asking her for things about you that she likes the most, as well as what sexual traits she would like to experience with you. Some of us here on the show, especially on After Dark, listening to you, I mean, no offense, but the episode we did 3 weeks ago where you spent the entire half hour engaging in sexual talk with your chatbot, Katana. I think I got 3 words in the entire episode. And then we all watched you take your shirt off, get some lotion and a tissue. It made us all uncomfortable. This is more of a word of warning.
Story.
So,
Ron, what's your story of the week?
Well, just before we move on too quickly, I would think you would be thankful of this technology because, as many longtime listeners know, you are not allowed to go within 500 feet of most schools out there. So this is maybe a way for you to connect with the youth that you're not able to physically come in contact with anymore.
No, not at all. I'm allowed to talk to a lot of youths. In
All right.
fact, only if they're in other countries.
All right. Next up, Brian, there is a new energy drink called Goth Girl Spit, which has become one of the year's strangest viral product launches, selling out almost instantly. What began as a long-running internet joke is now a highly profitable reality. Tactical apparel brand White Phosphor partnered with Echelon to release the sugar-free drink, which hit the market on May 28th, with 12 packs retailing for $35.99. The phrase Goth Girl Spit has existed as a running internet gag for years, rooted in meme culture around white monster energy, which fans on TikTok and Reddit jokingly nicknamed Goth Girl Spit due to its association with goth aesthetics and alternative subculture. The company, doing what any good marketing department would do, leaned into it and then had to issue an urgent clarification. Real Goth Girl Spit was only used for testing purposes only. This product does not contain actual Goth Girl Spit. Far from putting buyers off, the revelation sparked a frantic secondary market, with fans trying to track down supposed prototype batches and asking to pay extra for them. Brian, you are our resident goth simp specialist. Thoughts on this new Goth Girl Spit energy drink?
Listen, I'm going to say this is a direction I am not comfortable in. I do not get the internet obsession with goth girls spitting in your drink. I understand that there are people who want to watch women with dark hair, white face paint, and dark eyeliner and mascara, wearing, barely covering clothes. People are like that. I get that. I don't get the whole get yourself a goth girl barista who will spit in your coffee. I mean, you've sent me so many of those videos on TikTok where it is, two goth girls in wearing a Starbucks barista outfit come over and they're like, oh, here's your coffee. And then, it's from a first person perspective. And then the voice that for the person you don't see, is just like, oh, it's missing something. And the girls go, oh, hold on a second. And then just spit in the coffee. You told me that that's your favorite type of video on the internet.
Listen, I think the one thing that both of you have learned over the years, women with long black hair and wearing all black are dangerous, and you need to be careful around them.
Yes, absolutely. They will want to drink your blood at some point. Now, not to the point where you're going to kill each other. Here you go. JoJo claims to be a goth girl, says she will not spit in anyone's coffee. I don't believe that. Not that I don't believe that she's not, but I'm saying that if JoJo was in a committed relationship and her partner sat there and handed her a coffee mug in the morning and said, hey, you know what? It would really turn me on if you spit in my coffee. I cannot believe that JoJo would be like, absolutely not, and storm off into another room.
And there'd be nothing wrong with that in a consensual adult relationship.
Absolutely. What I don't want, and I don't want to live in a world where goth girls are spitting in people's beverages unknowingly. These people are drinking that beverage. That's not the world that we want to live in.
It needs to be a two-way conversation. Needs to be a two-way spit street.
Correct. However, Mr. Saletti believes JoJo is not a spitter, and JoJo agrees. She says, absolutely not. She's not a spitter. Okay, listen, we learn a lot every week. Maybe we just save this for after dark.
We'll table this. As we would say in the corporate world, let's put a pin in this and circle back to it later.
Smart move, Ron. That's why you're the champ and I'm not. Because I would do this. I would talk about this for the next 38 minutes.
I'm sure you would. Brian, you mentioned After Dark. One person that we have spoken of frequently on After Dark is actress Sydney Sweeney.
Of course.
Who went from being a MAGA darling after starring in a American Eagle ad to being gender scrutinized by the same demographic. Quote, why is Sydney Sweeney's neck so much wider than her head? I'm starting to get really worried that she's actually a man. One viral tweet with over 5.6 million views read. Also in the crosshairs, Erika Kirk, the CEO of Turning Point USA and widow of Charlie Kirk, who is now being called Eric Kirk by transvestigators, far-right accounts who use debunked phrenological tropes, skeletal overlays, and body language analysis to claim that famous women were born male. The irony is thick, of course. Charlie Kirk in his life repeatedly espoused that wives should stay home while husbands provide. Some of his own followers may not be thrilled that Erika Kirk has taken on a high-profile leadership role, and this may be part of why she's now a target. Experts note that the goal of a transvestigation is ultimately to strip credibility from any woman as perceived as threatening, regardless of her politics.
Sure.
Brian, your thoughts on this phenomenon? Because listen, Erika Kirk, I could go either way. Sydney Sweeney has always seemed all woman to us. To you?
Sure, of course. This is the part that I find so surprising. And I know a lot of this is the offshoot from the whole 4chan mentality of just there are no rules to the internet. So the more ludicrous that an environment, a situation you can create, the better. What I'm finding surprising about this thing, like far right fringe, is that there is no such thing as a loyalty. There is no such thing as, this is somebody that I align with, that I believe in, and I'm going to follow them, with the exception of Donald Trump. Everybody else seems like they are fair game for whatever the current fascination or obsession or conspiracy is. I mean, Erika, Kirk, whatever you want to say about her as a human being, just the very concept that she was born a man just is utterly ludicrous. I mean, do I know what genitalia she has? No, don't care. Do I know what gender she was born? No, don't care. The point is that there are people out there. What was the terminology that you used? The transvestigators?
Transvestigators.
That there are people out there who have free time on their hand to go on social media and start overlapping facial feature. This is what AI really, this is where we really need AI. Because without AI, we would never be able to take the facial cranial structure of Erika Kirk and compare that to the skull of a typical biological male and a biological female. Without AI, this is why we need those data centers, because the more data centers, the better we can have these AI investigations into phrenology, because that is something that seems to have been washed away as technology took over. And now I feel like we're leaning back towards phrenology.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, moving on, Brian. Last week, you put me under a spotlight with the New York Times news quiz. I feel I did okay for myself, but a lot of feedback from the listeners saying they loved it. Number one, because they like to hear you try and beat down on me, and me still manage to emasculate you. And people love to learn about the news because, it's tough to stay on top of everything in this 24/7 world. So, Brian, we are bringing back this week, I believe you have another news quiz for me.
We do have the Cult of Ron and Brian news quiz for the week ending June 7th, 2026. For those who want to play along, we can go to New York Times website right now. These questions and answers are taken directly from them. Ron, this is going to be a fast lightning round. I want to give you as little time as possible to research the answers. I know you like to cheat. You claim you are not looking it up over the weekend, but let's see how you do on saying. People, feel free to play along at home. Number one, in a rare rebuke of President Trump, 4 House Republicans joined Democrats on Wednesday in passing a measure to rein in the president's power to do what? Is it wage war in Iran, impose tariffs, build a 250-foot arch, create a $1.8 billion fund to pay allies, or make further changes to the White House?
That's an easy one, Brian. They limited his power to wage war in Iran.
You are absolutely correct, Ron. That is correct. It's war powers. The resolution directs Trump to withdraw U.S. forces from the war with Iran or get Congress's approval to continue. You are 1 for 1. Let's go to question number 2. Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, is headed to a runoff in her re-election campaign. Votes are still being counted, but as of Thursday night, which former reality TV star was in second place? Was it Kristen Cavallari, Mike Sorrentino, Scott Disick, Spencer Pratt, Tom Sandoval?
Brian, of course, it is Spencer Pratt.
That is absolutely correct, Ron. We are very proud. It is Spencer Pratt. Most people know that he rose to fame on MTV show The Hills. Ron, were you a Hills fan?
I was not, but I've been following this LA mayor race. He's actually now out of the running based on all of the mail-in votes being counted.
Well, we love the fact that you're paying attention to this shit. Ron, question number 3. Iran targeted which country this week with a barrage of missiles that caused major damage to its international airport? Was it Egypt, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, or Yemen?
I'm not 100%, but I believe it was Kuwait.
Ron goes with Kuwait, and the correct answer is absolutely Kuwait. Congrats, Ron. The strike was one of the biggest attacks by Iran on a Gulf nation since the U.S.-Iran ceasefire took effect in April. So far, Ron, I'd like to say you are 3 for 3. Are you feeling good?
I'm feeling great, Brian.
We don't care.
Keep
Question number 4. Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general, said the Trump administration was abandoning its plan to create a $1.8 billion fund to pay people who claim to have been harmed by Democrats. The reversal came after the Supreme Court ruling the fund would be illegal, 24 attorney generals suing to block the fund, was it the Justice Department Inspector General starting an investigation, prominent Republicans revolting against the fund, or a crowd of protesters filling the National Mall?
Brian, it was due to prominent Republicans revolting against the fund.
Holy cow, the kid is 4 for 4. Here's a picture of January 6th. It's a revolt by prominent Republicans. Congratulations, Ron. Let's move on to question number 5. This week, Ukrainian drones hit sites near St. Petersburg, President Vladimir Putin's hometown, just as what event was starting? Was it the summit between Putin and China's Xi Jinping? Was it Putin's birthday party, a military parade, an economic forum known as Russian Davos? Or was it the Russian Naval Academy's graduation ceremony?
Brian, they interrupted Putin's birthday party.
Really? They interrupted an economic forum known as Russian Davos. That is correct. It is also known as the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, where Putin was supposed to cultivate the annual event as a showcase of Russians' prosperity. Ron, don't feel bad, because according to the New York Times, only 42% of the almost 300,000 readers who took this quiz got that question correct.
Right,
one wrong.
A little bit better.
We go to number 6. After accusing the CBS News editor-in-chief, Barry Weiss, of murdering the news program 60 Minutes, which of the show's correspondents was fired? Was it Scott Pelley? Was it Andy Rooney, Leslie Stahl, Mike Wallace, or John Wertheim?
It was friend of the podcast, Scott Pelley.
Ron, you are absolutely correct. It was Scott Pelley. And here we have a photo of Ron from the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast, gleefully making the announcement that Scott Pelley was being terminated, as he supports all media in America swinging to the far right. Ron, what do you have to say for yourself?
I have to say, let's move on to the next question.
Number 7, a new building in Chicago pictured above is set to open this month. What is it? A new Chicago Bears stadium.
Building.
What was that?
That's an ugly building.
Was it the new Chicago Bears Stadium, Cloud Gate in Millennium Park, Google's Tompkins Center, the Illinois Semi-Quincentennial Monument? A lot of people didn't think I was going to pronounce that. Or was it the Obama Presidential Center?
I believe it's the Obama Presidential Center.
You are absolutely correct, Ron. You are on a roll. One wrong so far. The new A24 psychological horror film, Backrooms, was the #1 movie at the box office this past weekend, greatly exceeding the studio's expectations. What is notable about the film's director? Is he 20 years old? Is he 82 years old? Is he Steven Spielberg's son? Is he a gold medal winning snowboarder? Or does he only shoot on iPhones?
Now, this is a tough one. I know the only thing he had done previously was videos on YouTube. So I want to say he's 20 years old. I think he must be younger then if he's just doing YouTube videos.
You are absolutely correct, Ron. He is 20 years old. That is Kane Parsons, who is the youngest filmmaker in Hollywood history to achieve #1 in the North American box office. Next, SpaceX this week set a price for its initial public offering of $135 a share. Ron, as our in-house expert on the stock market, you can confirm that that values the company at $1.77 trillion, which would make it the largest ever IPO, surpassing which current record holder? Coca-Cola, Disney, Google, Saudi Aramco, or Tesla?
You're talking who had the biggest IPO in history?
Absolutely correct. That's nice with the way you are asking me to regurgitate a question I just asked you.
I'm going to go with Google.
You are going to go with Google. I'm sorry, Ron. The correct answer there is Saudi Aramco, which is the Saudi Arabia's state-owned oil company, which was valued at $1.7 trillion when it went public in 2019. Unfortunately, unable to invest in Saudi Aramco was Mohammed Atta, who was the 9/11 hijacker of the first plane that entered the World Trade Center on 9/11. He was just, here's a simple reminder, people, that 9/11 was operated by a primarily Saudi Arabian group, even though we decided to go into Iraq and fight a war. Here we go to question number 11. Which soccer team lost the Champions League final to Paris Saint-Germain on Saturday and then celebrated its Premier League victory the next day? Arsenal, Aston Villa, Brighton Crystal Palace, or Nottingham Forest?
I believe that was Arsenal, Brian.
Ron, you are absolutely correct. That was Arsenal. You have gotten 8 correct. You've gotten 2 wrong. We go to the last question. A pair of critically endangered parakeets in New Zealand are doing more than their share to help their species survive. How many chicks have they produced in the past 2 years? Is it 10, 25, 30, 55, or 80?
I'm going to go 55, Brian.
Ron, that is utterly incredible. You were absolutely correct. The answer is 55. They have produced more than 10% of the total orange-fronted parakeet population left on the planet. For those who are listening to the audio, you are missing out because I Googled the photo of parakeets having sex, and this is on our screen right now is the image of 2 parakeets having sex, which is very different than the way you used to mount me when we were in college.
Not much, though. A little different angle.
Well, Ron, I'm going to say you got 9 right. You got 2 wrong. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Once again, steamrolling, showing the world how good you are.
Well, I appreciate your kind words, Brian. We'll have to bring that back sometime in the near future.
How does 7 days from now?
All right. Well, if you come back, even better. Brian, you remember Karen Reed, who was acquitted of murder last year in the death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. A lot of people saying that she was set up and really embarrassed the entire Massachusetts State Police during that trial. Well, now she has filed an 87-page civil lawsuit against Massachusetts State Police and the town of Canton, and it is filled with years of explosive text messages between fired lead investigator Michael Proctor and former Canton Police Sergeant Sean Good. We have their photos right here. The lawsuit describes both men as, quote, inveterate bigots whose written communications over more than a decade reveal a deeply entrenched hatred for a number of groups. If I can read some of these out in the 87 pages. So Michael Proctor, who had already been exposed in the Karen Reed trial with texts calling her a whack job and expressing hope that she would kill herself. So these are some other texts that they found in reading his work phone. Upon responding to a crash, he had texted Good using a racial slur about a black person involved and told him not to rush, saying, quote, let them die. He sent a message calling for a fictitious punch an N-word day in Canton and urged violence against any black person in sight. Wrote that, quote, America sucks. Hitler was really onto something before the U.S. stepped in and ruined it. Complained about too many Jewish people in a nearby town and wrote that, quote, they should be kept in a concentration camp. Wrote that he needed a roofie or something to find a sexual partner. After running into an attractive woman, wrote that he, quote, can't wait to look this C word up tonight at work. Described a female supervisor with a graphic, violent sexual fantasy involving insects, and also discussed performing sexual acts on women while they were asleep. So obviously, thankfully, he has been fired already. Sean Good, not much better, called Boston Mayor Michelle Wu a little C word, called Patriots owner Robert Kraft a terrible C-word Jew.
Jesus.
Wrote about a Jewish woman. She's a Jew, so definitely puts out. Said Anne Frank was a lying C-word. Let's see here. Commented about Sandra Birchmore the young Canton woman allegedly murdered by a cop and initially ruled a suicide, calling her, quote, borderline retarded, used racial slurs against Asian people, also discussed performing sexual acts on women, including while asleep, referred to women using various vulgar terms, including pigs, and made derogatory comments about Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey. What's interesting is these texts span from 2013 through the period of the Karen Reed investigation, showing that this wasn't a post-case venting session. It was a decade-long, I guess, habit.
Question, Ron, and I mean, I don't even know where to start here, but my first thing is like, is this where you get a lot of your content of text that you send me? Because some of these things, I believe, are messages that you have also texted me over time.
That would be incorrect, Brian.
I mean, I asked you how things were going at work, and you said, oh, you know, the C word. I asked you how things were going with your wife, and you were like, well,
I mean, have I called you a C word and an R word to your face? Sure, I have. But I haven't referred to others that way.
Got it. Oh, see, it's subtle, but now I understand what you're talking, what the difference is. Yes.
Next story, Brian. Right here in my backyard, a Horsham Fire Company firefighter and EMT was fired after using a racial slur that was broadcast over the Montgomery County emergency radio system while responding to a fatal crash on County Line Road. The slur was captured on audio and obtained by local media. According to Chief Lee Greenberg, he was alerted to the language by a member of the print media and immediately began investigating. The firefighter was terminated the moment he returned to the station. Quote, appalling. It's just not the standard, Greenberg said. This is a gut punch. The fire company says all personnel will undergo mandatory sensitivity and workplace professionalism training and emphasize that the actions of one individual don't reflect the values of the department. The firefighter's identity has not been publicly released.
I mean, is this any different than what you do to me all the time?
I mean, I don't do it over a public radio. Again, I do it in our private conversations and
I'm just going to say
messages to each other.
Correct. When I see a message when I see a notification pop up my phone that you have sent me a voice message, I immediately need to step away from anybody at work, any of my friends in my personal life, because I can't have them hearing the type of language that you use when you send me messages.
Brian, dare I say that you're just as bad?
Oh, I would say that I'm worse.
Well, let's
just be brutally honest.
Sure.
You will use offensive themes with me. I will just go right to the offensive words.
That's true. We use the same paint.
Sure.
We apply it to the canvas slightly differently. Correct.
You, I think, are a little bit more creative, where I will be a little bit more concise.
You're blunt. You're very direct and to the point.
Correct, which is something I've always prided myself on.
Next up, Brian, this one might make your blood boil. A Long Island home healthcare agency has claimed that a sleeping 84-year-old dementia patient is herself to blame for nearly being stabbed to death by one of its aides. Aide Amanda Fraser is facing attempted murder charges after allegedly plunging an 8-inch chef's knife into Wendy Wilson's torso while Wilson slept in her Massapequa home, holding the blade inside her body for 16 minutes while telling her to, quote, stop fighting it. The agency, Aides at Home, argued in court papers that Wilson's injuries were caused in whole or in part by her own culpable conduct, despite video apparently showing her sleeping when she was attacked. Wilson's lawyer called the filing outrageous, saying, quote, how could my client be culpable? Wilson survived but suffered a punctured lung and spent about a week in the hospital due to a resulting infection. Frazier faces up to 25 years in prison if convicted, but prosecutors have told the family it could be 3 to 5 years before trial. Now, this picture is very hard to fathom.
Sure.
If you're not watching the video, the woman, Wendy Wilson, is shown in her bed while her aide is standing over her, just nonchalantly holding that chef's knife over her
Sure.
while looking at her phone.
And the implication from the story here is that if you're watching the video, the next step after the after this image is this home health aide stabbing this poor woman. It's just, I mean, this is corporations at their worst. There's absolutely no way that you can sit there and say that this woman is to blame for being stabbed by her home health aide.
I mean, what is their argument going to be as to why she had an 8-inch chef's knife in her hand to begin with?
I have listen, I did some research. I tried to find the original response and I could not find it.
All right. Well, we will keep track of that and update you folks as we get more information. Brian, an old fan of yours, and I know you are a fan as well. Former Congressman George Santos is back, and he's still George Santos, Brian. In February, Santos posted a video on X claiming he was heading to a major event, but he had already placed a bet on his personal Kalshi prediction market account that he would not attend, then used the video to inflate the odds in his favor, making tens of thousands of dollars in the process. He was caught almost immediately. Kalshi froze his account and reported the trades to the DOJ. When NPR asked Santos about whether he had a Kalshi account, he responded, "I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no." The case fits into a growing pattern of apparent insider trading on prediction markets, including a special operations team member caught making trades on Polymarket related to geopolitical events, and a group of connected traders with a 98% win rate on U.S. military operations bets.
Listen, first off, I have an account on Kalshi. I haven't used it in a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But like, I don't remember signing up for anything that said that I was not going to place positions on things that I have the personal ability to affect. So I'm not understanding what his, don't get me wrong, what he did, morally incorrect. But right. I don't see, I'm not aware of what specific crime that, that we have started, in an act of law that says that in a prediction market, you're not allowed to wager on any situation where you have a possible ability to cause one way or the other.
My guess is there's probably something in the terms and conditions that none of us read and just click OK. Like, I would think, it's within Kalshi and Polymarket and these other predictive market apps' best interest to not have the markets be manipulated.
Sure. But we know it's happening.
But how stupid do you have to be to use your own personal account? Like, why wouldn't you just get some friends and say, listen, this is what I'm going to do. Just give me a cut of your winnings afterwards.
100% correct right there, Ron. Don't use your own account. Use your friends.
Like, I would love to know what his account name is. I'm picturing it's like, George Zaddy Santos or something along those lines. But just
didn't he have when he was cross-dressing, didn't he have like a female name? I imagine that would be.
What the hell was that?
Hold on, we'll talk for a couple seconds. I'm going to find it. George Santos.
But the fact that you're betting on, you're making a George Santos bet and your account is literally under the name George Santos.
His name was Katara Ravache, Ravache. Kavara Ravache. Right off the bat, I dislike him. He couldn't even come up with an easy name to pronounce. It had to be something fancy. And I'm going to be honest with you, he was a crappy looking lady. Not good.
Again, still not that smart, still doing things and making it very easy for himself to be caught.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Idiot.
Listen,
Idiot.
If he could have shared the wealth, gotten us some money.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's only so much you can hope for from him.
Next up, Brian, I know you have been following this MrDeepFakes saga. very closely over the past few weeks, especially since Paris Hilton launched a 14-part investigative documentary series titled Searching for MrDeepFakes, exclusively on TikTok, produced with journalist Lori Seagal, tracking the hunt for the anonymous operator behind one of the internet's most notorious deepfake pornography platforms. The site, MrDeepFakes, drew up to 17 million monthly visitors before being forced offline in May of 2025 after a sustained investigation. It served as a marketplace where millions of videos featuring non-consensual imagery were hosted and distributed. The man ultimately identified as connected to the site's administration is David Doe, a 36-year-old pharmacist working within the Oak Valley Health Hospital network in the Greater Toronto area. A regular dad, a healthcare worker, a pillar of the community, and allegedly the architect of one of the most dystopian websites in internet history. Hilton joined Congresswoman AOC on Capitol Hill in January to advocate for legal protections for deepfake victims, calling it, quote, the newest form of victimization. Brian, as everyone knows, you are the senior pornography leader for this podcast. Talk to me about the MrDeepFakes situation.
I mean, this guy, listen, to say he is a legend, do we know what the name of the website was?
The site was named MrDeepFakes. I assume it was like MrDeepFakes.com or something like that. But clearly it should no longer be active.
I'm trying to find it right now and I can't. And I feel like I missed an opportunity, a space on the internet that would have provided me with hours of entertainment. Listen, this is once again going back to our conversation on the direction of AI, which is that we as a society have sat there and just absolutely handed over all responsibility of the future to the computers. And it is only inevitable for people, and soon computers will be doing this themselves, to create computer-generated content, whether it be photos or videos, that are completely computer-generated, are not real, but are sexual content, including famous people. I mean, the number of hours I have spent on Gemini, on Grok, on ChatGPT, on Claude, on whatever Facebook's Meta AI, to sit there and try to come up with a deep fakes of Ron. I mean, I've sat there and said, I've tried the right term, you are, a podcast champion and you are looking to invite friends.
Gotta stop.
Well, I started to cut you off there, Brian, but I did not want to run out of time. Certainly wanted to make sure you completed your thought, though.
Move it forward.
All right, next up, Brian. Thieves made off with approximately 1,800 cases of Noble Oak bourbon. That's about 10,800 bottles worth $500,000 from a warehouse on North American Street in Philadelphia on Friday afternoon in what company officials are calling a coordinated cargo theft operation. The suspects apparently deceived warehouse employees into thinking they were supposed to load their truck with the bourbon, and workers missed some regular security protocols. One of the red flags that went unnoticed, the picture on the driver's ID didn't match the driver. The company's COO called it one of the largest bourbon heists seen in the region this year. The stolen product was supposed to be transported to North Jersey A21 Wine and Spirits. They're now warning distributors and realtors to be on the lookout for anyone trying to resell the bottles. We've seen this happen a lot. I think Kit Kat had like $6 million of product stolen a while back. And again,
don't leave out the time when the tractor, the 18-wheel tractor trailer with podcast merch was hijacked driving through Bayonne, New Jersey on its way to our distributor. I mean, we had so many orders that went unfulfilled. We had to return millions of dollars to the loyal listeners who had placed orders for merch. And we never were able to track down the merchandise.
Still lost. And you, as a bourbon fanatic, I mean, what would you do with $500,000 of bourbon?
I would try to sell it. Not a fan of bourbon. I don't like
Really?
it. It's too sweet.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a whiskey guy. Bourbon,
right.
you know, bourbon always reminds me of just like whiskey that's been filtered through syrup.
I mean, I think that's a fairly accurate description.
Yeah, not a fan of it. Unnecessary.
Brian, have you finally watched the documentary "The Crash" on Netflix?
No,
Brian,
I still.
Mackenzie Shirilla, the Ohio woman convicted of intentionally driving her car into a building at 100 miles an hour back in 2022, killing her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and friend Davion Flanagan, has always maintained publicly that it was an accident. But a former inmate is telling a very different story. A woman who goes by the name of Anastasia was housed with Shirilla at the Ohio Reformatory for Women, claims Shirilla told fellow inmates the crash was intentional and appeared amused while telling the story, saying, quote, "The devil was pressing on her foot and that Dom had to die." Anastasia also claimed Shirilla kept a scrapbook in prison that notably contained no photos of Dominic or Davion, but did contain a picture of a brick wall with the word "boom" written on it. Shirilla is serving 2 concurrent sentences of 15 years to life.
Not a good look.
Good, and again, Joe pointed out, because she's watched the documentary, her parents are no bueno. Parents are, I mean, listen, Mackenzie has to take a certain level of responsibility for her behavior, but her parents are just the worst enablers on the planet.
Right. Well, I hate to say it, but I feel like there's a lot of parents right now that are in that that are in that range of just being terrible enablers.
Brian, which do you think you'll get to first, watching The Crash or watching Brockmire?
The Crash, for sure, because I think I can talk my lady into it.
All right, fair enough. Let's see. This was a story that you put on the list, so I'm going to assume you wanted to get to this. Disney princesses say that guests grope them and they have to stay in character. Former Disney character performers speaking out claim that they were expected to stay in character no matter what guests did to them, including during incidents of sexual harassment. The strict expectation known among performers as character integrity is considered one of the most important rules of the job. Former performer Alyssa Klinsing, who portrayed Elsa, Cinderella, Ariel, Sleeping Beauty, and Captain Marvel, described the atmosphere backstage as a, quote, high school drama department, with intense competition and allegations of sabotage amongst performers vying for coveted roles. Incidents with guests have resulted in police reports and arrests, including a father that was removed, arrested, and permanently banned from Disney World in 2026 after allegedly assaulting a character performer. There is also an unspoken expiration date for princess performers. They're expected to maintain the same physique and appearance as when they were hired, since the characters stay young forever and the performers don't.
Ugh. I mean, it's certainly not a job that you or I would be able to handle.
No. I mean, I have often called you my pretty little princess, but that's really just between us.
And yet, at the same time, it makes me feel a little special every time.
Does it make you feel safe? Because that's really why I do it.
Makes me feel loved and protected.
All right. Brian, let's sneak in a "But the Drag Queens Are the Problem" story. We only have one this week. If we only have one, it's got to be a drag queen. Wouldn't you say?
Gotta be.
Oh, no, it is not, Brian. It is Amanda Katz, a 55-year-old former administrator at Roswell High School in Georgia. She has been charged with having sex with a 16-year-old student, and investigators found nearly 20,000 texts exchanged between them. In the messages, Katz told the boy she was crazy about him, that she'd walk away from everything to be with him, and that their relationship was top-level stupid. She also allegedly asked him to run away to Mexico with her, The relationship was exposed over Valentine's Day weekend when the boy's mother discovered the explicit text on his phone during a family mountain getaway. Katz allegedly went back to work in a manic state after the family left the vacation in the middle of the night, telling coworkers she was distraught because she could no longer see her boyfriend because his mother didn't like her. She was arrested this week and charged with improper sexual contact and was captured smirking in her mugshot. I mean, the fact that she's probably older than the mother of the 16-year-old she was sleeping with, more than just a bit creepy.
Jesus, that's the start. I mean, gosh, can you imagine like banging your teacher and then like she just can't take a hint? Ooh.
So what you're saying is you're okay with them having sex together. Your breaking point is the woman not being able to kind of separate that it was just kind of a one-time thing.
Correct. I mean, they always say don't put your wiener in crazy, and I feel like this kid did not know that lesson.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it took you roughly 50 years to learn that lesson.
God damn it, Ron. I swear to God, that was so fucking unnecessary. Wow. I don't even know where to go with that, because that hurt. That literally went right to me. Oh man, how dare you?
Let's sneak one more story in then. Brian, a packed Danish crowd celebrated yesterday the much maligned but enduring mullet hairstyle, defined by a very short hair at the front and longer hair in the back. Denmark's raucous 2026 Mullet Championship, presented on an outdoor stage in central Copenhagen, attracted 12 well-coiffed competitors and more than 1,000 spectators to the evening event. Organizer Stefan Stu Weber, a 37-year-old electrician, said the championships, now in their fourth year, began after he had a hair transplant and chose to grow out a mullet. After realizing he couldn't compete in a mullet competition in the United States because he wasn't a U.S. citizen, he started his own in Denmark. Yeah, that's strict rules for the U.S. You can't even. This is how far we've gone against immigration. You can't even compete in a U.S. mullet contest if you're a U.S. citizen.
I mean, we do love a good mullet contest. Let's be honest.
Competitors in Saturday's championships were evaluated on their cuts, style, uniqueness, and overall performance and mullet moves. Contestants were given 60 seconds to perform on stage to showcase their cuts. The crowd screamed and chanted with their energy seemingly feeded into the various performers on stage. 43-year-old construction worker Thomas Berg eventually took home the top prize after wowing judges by frantically jumping on a trampoline while clad in neon green gym wear.
Ron, is that the kind of look that would impress you?
I mean, listen, I think, if you're going to do the mullet, lean into it. Did you ever have a mullet?
No, never did.
I did at one point. I mean,
I know we have photos of it.
Yes, we do have the photos. Listen, it was a thing back then.
Yeah, I know. And how does it make you feel?
I'm proud to have been the man I was back when I had my mullet.
God, I wish I could pull up that photo quickly, but it's not going to happen.
Now, what is going to happen, as always happens after this show, is Ron and Brian After Dark. It is for our Patreon subscribers. We started at 9:30. It's the saucy, sexy stories that would get us kicked off of YouTube on the free podcast. If you are not a Patreon subscriber, just go to cultofronandbrian.com. Click in the upper right-hand corner, and if you subscribe at the $10 a month level or higher, you get to join us live every Sunday night at 9:30. And the final Sunday of the month, we have our pajama party where we invite our Patreon subscribers on, and they compete in a trivia contest against one of the two of us. Brian, you had a win this last Sunday night, and can you beat Brian? at the wire. You were down big going into the final question, got the question right quick enough to win by a mere 27 points. Definitely one of the biggest nail biters in Can You Beat Us history. How are you feeling a week after this great accomplishment?
Still riding the emotional high. And I'm going to say this to you, and you know me, I'm a little hesitant to change and a little suspicious of technology. But your inclusion of using a time-based answering system, not back in the Bronze Ages of the After Dark, we used to use a shared Google sheet where we would have to wait for people. Now we are using a shared app on our phones. You can download it in the Android store, download it in the Apple iPhone store. And you get points based on the time it takes you to come. So the quicker you answer, the more points you get. What a game changer. And I believe that was in my favor this month for the first. Was not always in my favor. I remember you chuckling multiple, months as I would slowly take my time to come up with the right answer.
It took you a little bit to get used to it. But again, this is an example of us putting this Patreon money back into the podcast, back into making the end result greater.
So, folks, sign up for the Patreon. It's going to do you good. It's going to do us good, and the world will be a better place.
All right. Brian, anything else before we wrap up episode 408 and get ready for After Dark?
We are good to go. Let's do it.
All right. Stay cool out there this week, people. We'll catch you next week.
Takes rising, orders given. Once you're